Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God still and trust in me." There are many rooms in my Father's house. If there were not, I should have told you. I am going now to prepare a place for you, and after I have gone and prepared you a place, I shall return to take you with me, so that where I am, you may be too. You know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas said, "Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me." The Gospel of the Lord. Through the words of the Holy Gospel, may our sins be washed away. No one can come to the Father except through me. Jesus is the formula of the Father. Jesus is the password, is the PIN code to go to the Father. People everywhere are looking for a formula, a way out. When you study economics and you see others are prospering and you're wondering, but how have they made it? You see people driving and you're asking yourself, is it also my portion that one day I should ever drive? Zambia now is a construction site. Everywhere, structures, new buildings are coming up, the latest type of houses. And you may be asking yourself, where are they getting the money from? Will I ever put up one like that? People are looking for breakthrough formulas. In the scientific world, in the medical world, they are toiling day and night, and they are asking themselves, what could be the cure for this particular disease? Cancer, HIV. There are wars which we hear about. People are asking themselves, how can we settle this so that once and for all people would not take up guns? Tune into any radio station, watch any television, you will come up with this information that will bombard you about the negative things that are happening here and there. And you're asking yourself, is there a day when we can enjoy absolute peace in this world? And is that possible? And so Jesus poses himself to be the answer, the absolute answer. I am the way. Which way? I am the truth. Which truth? And I am the life. Now, you have to know that Jesus did not just speak these words, but he demonstrated by his life. The way he lived amongst his disciples proved beyond a doubt that he was the way. He did not just talk about the Father, but he demonstrated who the Father is to us. We can take many instances when Jesus performed the so-called miracles, that was God's intervention. Talk about Jesus feeding the 5,000 with only 5 loaves. He was responding to hunger. He was demonstrating that God, the God of the Old Testament, who, when the children of Israel were starving, they had no food in the wilderness, and Moses interceded, and the following day, the following morning, they saw some things on the ground, and Moses told them, this is the manna that has come from heaven. And Jesus demonstrated equally in the wilderness when he asked the disciples, can you give them something to eat? And they said, we do not have enough. Not even 1 year's salary of a director in a company can feed this multitude. But how many loaves do you have yourselves? Only 5, which not even Judas or any one of us would feed and be satisfied. And Jesus says, bring them to me. And we know that the people ate and there were leftovers. So the Christ that we are preaching is an economist. The Christ that we are preaching cancelled death. The Christ that we talk about, he was not the one that we hear about just talking about him. He demonstrated. He was down to earth. He responded when he met that funeral procession from the village of Nain, and that widow, the woman who lost her only son, and she was a widow. And Jesus did not join the procession by crying. He did not go and embrace her and console her. Mama, sorry for this, for you losing your son. May he so rest in peace. Jesus did not do that. He stopped the pallbearers and said, this death has come to this family. By mistake, it was meant for the neighbors. Or somewhere, the spirit of death should not have struck this young man. He's looking after the mother, and now he's going to look after the mother. And then he looked at the pallbearers and says, young man, arise, wake up. Now that is the demonstration of life, the way of being. So when Christ is talking about being the way, the truth, and the life, it is out of real love for humanity. There is no other way that we can go to the Father. There is no other way we can understand the Father. There is no other means of propositions in terms of language that we can hear and understand who God is, other than just looking at Christ himself, the way he lived. Now somebody may be asking, but Father, you are preaching like that. This is 2,000 years ago. Now Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. If we are not doing what he did, it is not because they are non-performable. There are no miracles. The miracles of the loaves are still happening today. The miracles of the healings, restoration of life are still with us today. So it is a question of being aware that you have a special relationship with God. Awareness changes your attitude. Awareness makes you fly high. You change your altitude. That which you are aware of begins to affect you. If, for instance, here where we are in this studio chapel, we do not know that this building is about to collapse, and we are very ignorant, not knowing that there is a crack somewhere. And so we are going to be very much at peace because we don't know that in the next few minutes it's going to collapse. But should somebody just tell us, you know what, it's in the next 5 minutes, this thing will be collapsing on us. And then as I am preaching, people will be looking at the time, Father, can you hurry? We are going to die. You're going to have BP here. You're going to have the... You're going to have some bowel movement. Very strange. Why? Because of awareness. You see, that which you are aware of reshapes your thinking, reshapes your metabolism. Everything comes to a certain standstill. Now, if you are not aware of who Christ is, and you have not come to believe in him, then your life is disconnected from the password. It's like putting diamonds and a pawpaw before a child, and you say, what do you want? Which one do you take? A child will go for pawpaw, for the fruits, than the diamonds, not knowing that actually the diamonds will buy extra pawpaws for life in the lifetime. But the child is not aware of the value of the diamonds. He thinks these are just stones. Now, when Christ has come and he suffers, he converts the suffering into success, into a formula of life. He does not get scared of the evil one, of the people who wanted to kill him. He is not afraid of them. Now, if you too were aware today that your suffering, you can convert what you call suffering and make it into a cross and use it against the enemy. A story is told of this man who was building a house and at the foot of the mountain, and to lay a good foundation, he needed stones, and the stones were up the mountain. So what did he do? He started a fight with the monkeys. He started throwing stones at them. The monkeys were up the mountain, and they started throwing stones, and he started collecting those stones, and he was putting in his foundation. Sometimes a fight is provoked in your life so that you can be a beneficiary of what may look like suffering. There are so many things that happen which we call negative, and yet they were meant to connect you to your destiny. The story of Joseph, who was sold by his brothers, and they wanted to kill him, but he ended up in Egypt, and in history he became second in command. And when his brothers are looking for food, he recognizes them, and he makes an interpretation of that event when they wanted to kill him, to sell him. He said, "You meant to destroy me, but God has used the same selfishness, and now he's using it for your side." Now, this is the formula of Jesus, and this is why Jesus will tell us, if someone strikes you on the right cheek, give them your left cheek. Show them that you are greater, you are bigger, you are above than the sense of feelings on your cheeks. You want to stop your feeling pain on your cheeks to go into your heart, and when you are hurt, you begin to hate. A child of God should never come to that conclusion because of a slap. And so you stop it there. And so he brings to an end an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. He says, why do you want to have the whole village with people without teeth just because one started a fight? Can we only have one person without a tooth than to have a multiplication of the same? And so the formula of Jesus, do unto others what you'd like them to do unto you. Give and it shall be given to you. The teachings of Jesus are password to life of abundance. We're just coming from a program with Mr. Chanda, Jeff, and we're talking about John chapter 10 verse 10. I have come so that they may have life and have it in abundance. So Jesus is the formula of abundance. And when we embrace him and his teaching, we will never lack anything. And it all begins with his resetting your mind. Your mindset becomes Jesus-like. You begin to see life around you. The scarcity mindset is squashed off, and you begin to see everything in abundance. Even in the middle of a crisis, you can say like St. Paul, all things work for good to them that love God, to them that are called according to God's purpose. You can speak like with Isaiah, is it Jeremiah? No weapon fashioned against me shall prosper. You can read Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 and say, the plans that I have for you are plans of prosperity. And you are speaking because you are scared, and everybody thinks you are going to die, you are finished. and then you begin to speak Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Now that is the formula of happiness. That is the way to the Father. Who is the Father? The Father is your promised land. Who is your Father? Your Father is the destiny. The Father is that which you are looking for in life as a comfort place. The Father is the ultimate. And how would we get there? God has revealed the way. God has given us life itself. Now, the life that Christ is here and now. We do not enjoy this life when we have died. When we begin to practice the teaching, we begin to live the gospel, we enjoy life. We do not have enemies. We love everybody, and so we have no hypertension. We never suffer from stroke, or your BP is foreign for you, and because you love your enemies. What is it that is making you suffering? It's because you are keeping a record of wrongs. On your cell phone, you have kept those wrong messages, and when you read them, you feel hurt. What does Jesus say about forgiveness? He says, forgive and forget. Forgive and forget. God forgives and forgets. He gives us the parable of the prodigal son. What did the father do? Did the father check his account and say, now you have come back, you foolish boy, where is the money? Can you give me an account? What did the father do? He celebrated his life. Do you celebrate those who have offended you when they ask for forgiveness? Even if they have not asked for forgiveness, what is your attitude towards those that have offended you? Peace. Christ says peace. And so this is my prayer for you, my brother, my sister, especially those of you who are following us and are bedridden. Look at your sickness as God's formula to qualify you for something bigger. Do not blame anybody, and be grateful that there are even people to take care of you. And even if there was nobody to take care of you, be consoled that God is giving you an opportunity to have that introspection into your life. Make your sickness a connecting factor to your God. Jesus, at some point, he prayed, if possible, take away this cup from me. But not my will, but your will be done. And the Father did not take away that cup. There are certain sicknesses, certain conditions, certain problems that will be prolonged. No matter how much you have prayed, you have met the best men of God, you have traveled to Nigeria to meet TB Joshua, you have been to all sorts of the giant men of God, and you are still sick, and you're wondering whether it's because you lack faith. No, you don't lack faith. Jesus prayed, my Father, take away this cup. And the Father did not take away that cup, but he strengthened him. And later on we know that it was through passing a Good Friday that Christ himself became even worse dangerous than the devil. The devil regretted he ever put Christ on the cross. He should have died of sickness, or he should have died of old age. Your suffering, your sickness, your condition has not come to destroy you. God is going to use it for his kingdom. And that is the Jesus' formula, and that is the Jesus' way of looking at suffering. And I'm praying for you that you have a fresh look at whatever you're going through. Ask yourself, am I here because of my wanting? And the answer is certainly no. You didn't create yourself. You didn't plan for your life. Now, if you are there because somebody planned, do you think he has abandoned you? No, he has never abandoned you. And this is why he has sent his Son, Jesus Christ. May God reach out to you and console you. Those of you who are mourning, who have lost the beloved, may God speak to your heart and know that there is no loss in the kingdom of God. There is only gloss. Those of you who are disappointed, make your disappointment an appointment with God. Find time to kneel down and pray to God. The God of Israel is our God. He is there for you, and he shall always be for you and with you. For this I pray to the Lord. Lord, hear us.